Hey, welcome to the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check. Today we are going to talk about two things. It's the perils of playing with a man emotional, of the emotionally challenged man, but really it's the danger of playing with a man's balls. Now, Camille and John are in studio right now. Camille, will you play with a man's balls or will you not play with his balls? That is the question.
Depends on the playing.
Okay. Good. John, do you like your balls being played with, or do you prefer to have your balls not touched?
Well, I mean, wait a minute. Where are you going with this?
Just answer the question, yes or no.
Of course I want my balls played with.
All right, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are men that have their balls smashed and mushed and destroyed by women that emotionally dominate them.
Yes.
Now, we have a poster child for this.
You do?
We do.
Go on.
All right. My grandfather.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Remember Grandma Frankie?
Grandma Frankie. Right. She's the notorious ballbuster.
She's the notorious. She was the queen of ballbusting.
Yeah.
She perfected it on her son.
Yeah,
she perfected it on her son, and she perfected it on her husband. So my grandfather was this short man.
Her son was your dad?
Yes.
Right.
My grandfather was this short little man.
Yeah.
Grandpa Mickey was his name. Boring guy. Looked like Wimpy on the Archie's comics, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it was painful to sit with Grandpa Mickey because he didn't really relate to kids. Now, I wish now I talked to him more because he was a big-time stockbroker. So now I probably
he was good in the boardroom is what you're saying.
He was good in the boardroom, okay? Not good in the bedroom, and definitely not good with women. The guy was not a stud.
Yeah.
So that type of guy will always end up with a woman that doesn't fondle his balls but crushes his balls.
Wow, yes.
So one day my grandmother asked me to bond with him, and my mother said, take Grandpa on a boat ride. So we had this boat. It was this little dingy boat that was made out of, vinyl, and we blew it up. So my grandfather put his bathing suit on up to his chest like he did. He was in his 70s,
Yeah.
He looked really masculine that way, right? In a 70-year-old man kind of way.
Right.
So we walked down the long driveway, walked down to the beach, and got in there, and then all of a sudden, something came out.
Now, oh, no.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
So here I am, 17 years old. What am I supposed to tell him? Hey, Grandpa, your ball is hanging out of your bathing suit, right?
Yeah.
So I figured it would just find its way back in. It never did. No matter what direction I rode the boat, no matter how bumpy the water was.
This story is disgusting.
After 20 minutes of...
Right? Why are we listening to this?
Because you're going to hear this.
Yeah.
So you would think, right?
Yeah.
If your ball was playing peekaboo,
yes,
you would know.
Oh, that's the strangest part about it. I always think that people whose balls just pop out of their shorts, there's something weird going on there. Like, do you think that he had some other agenda? I mean, I don't want to think your grandpa, but it's weird that his balls are popping out.
No. There was no other agenda. You see, when a man has been emotionally destroyed by a woman, his balls haven't been caressed in so long that it was just getting some fresh air for the day.
He didn't even know where his balls were anymore.
He didn't know where his balls were.
He didn't even know he had them anymore.
No.
Probably forgot he had balls.
Or they were numb at that point.
Yeah, they were numb, that's for sure. Right?
Yeah, they were numb or they just didn't have it. So I decided to turn the boat around because the ball was not going back inside. So what did I do at that moment? Okay, I took him back to the shore. He got out of the boat, and I remember very clearly the ball will find its way back in. It didn't.
I mean, it is an interesting thing. Like, what could you have done? Could you said, Grandpa, your balls are hanging out?
I could have.
You're giant. I mean, what? Like, I don't want to get too graphic here because it's really gross.
No, we don't need to talk about elephantitis.
So that's what I was going to say.
Right.
He had elephantitis?
He did.
No.
Oh, he did.
Come on, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean, he had giant balls?
Giant balls.
How old was your grandpa at this time?
In his 70s.
Wow.
But don't forget, he was emotionally destroyed by my grandmother, so the balls had zero release for probably 25 years.
Wow.
Okay, that's what happens. You ever see rats?
I think they didn't have sex, huh?
You ever see rats in a pet store?
No, I haven't.
Okay, any of you guys have seen that? Well, rats in a pet store, if rats have not had sex, they're dragging their balls against the ground because they need to always release. That's why rats are consistently reproducing every 14 days, right?
Right.
So my grandfather was no different than a rat in a pet store for 30 years, okay?
Yeah.
So my poor grandpa, Camille, I went up to the house, and I followed him up to the house, and I figured the
Wait,
ball
you followed him up? But
I figured the ball would find its way back in, so I allowed him to walk into the kitchen where my grandmother almost had a heart attack, screamed at him for having the ball out. My mother came out crying, laughing so hard, and she looked at me as I was on the ground laughing so hard. I was kicking, and she said, "You have an evil, sick sense of humor." But in reality, what I realized is that men who have giant balls have not had the chance to release because they're with women who constantly bust their balls. So the question to you...
You're saying anybody who has giant balls didn't release?
I don't know. I'm making a giant ball generalization.
Anatomical.
It's a giant ball generalization, all right? So that's what we're making
I thought the real lesson is...
This is the ballpark.
Yeah, it's in the ballpark.
It is in the ballpark.
Yeah.
It is. We're playing ball right now. So, Camille, do you know men... You know women that get off on busting men's balls? Because I know when you walk around Chicago on a beautiful spring day, you can always see the man who's got that frown on his face. You know his balls have been busting. What do you say to women that are ball busters?
Well, what's really ironic is that most women don't want to be ball busters, so there's something else going on there. I actually work with them to tone it down because they find it exhausting. And it's ironic because the guy doesn't like it, the woman doesn't like doing it most of the time, and it's this awful situation where no one's happy. So I teach them to tap more into their femininity and let him be the man that they want him to be, which they're not giving him the chance to be.
Well, I think also John put it really well. It's emotional dominance. Because if you think about it, men have physical dominance, but we're not going to ever use that. Well, a sane man will never use physical dominance on a woman, right? But women's only thing is emotional dominance. Pause that, John. They got emotional dominance, okay? So it is it's interesting. Oh, I know what you're playing. All right, John's going to play something that's really great. So hold on one second, okay? This is pure emotional dominance.
I know you took the doll's head. Where is it? Where's the fucking head?
I don't know.
The kid is home, hysterical, because her doll, Judy, has been decapitated. Because you two sickos took the head for God knows what reason. Some voodoo shit you're doing. Where is it? Stop scratching your balls and tell me where it is. All right, just get me the fucking head, all right? Get me the fucking head, all right? Both of you, because I've had it, you four-eyed fuck, and you fat piece of shit. Get me the head!
You know what show that's from, right?
No, what is that?
It's Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm, okay?
Susie's the ultimate
ball buster, okay? And the fact is, maybe women don't want to be ball busters, but for some reason or another, it's literally like the only way that they can bully a guy into getting the way that they want. Because there are some women that just do that. They will bully a guy or they will nag a guy to get what they want out of the relationship because they're so frustrated because the man is not listening. And that's the difference between two sexes. Women have been taught to bust balls and fight back with emotional words, while men have been using physical words. So men don't know what to do in that situation. So when a woman is attacking him at 100 miles an hour, he's not going to clock her, a.k.a. Ray Rice, okay? He's going to just sit there and walk away and go into the car and go, whoo, that was rough. Thank God we got out of there. It makes a man cringe.
Well, I mean, it's really sad that obviously, what we're talking about is, that relationships come to that. But there's certain, I've seen it over and over as a dating coach, men who can oftentimes be really powerful in certain situations, like running a business or being even a famous artist or this or that, and they have empires. But when it comes to at home, the woman emotionally dominates them, and it makes her, she's doing it, and the more she does it to him, the more weak he becomes, the more unhappy she becomes, because she wants a man to be a leader. She wants a man to be a leader of his own life, and she wants him to be a better communicator. And obviously there's certain women who, no matter who you are, they're just going to find a guy to do that with. And there's some people, and there's some guys that are just going to find a woman that will do that to them, but nobody in it's happy. So I've seen it when I used to live on the Upper West Side of New York. It was like ball busting central. up there. I mean, you just see like broken down men wheeling babies with Susie types, right next to them. So, that certainly scared me off of marriage, really.
Is it, Camille, do you think it's our society because the men have become so passive, so many of them don't know how to be dominant anymore because they've been mothered so much, so they walk around with their mangina instead of really walking around with Grandpa Mickey balls?
I think it's also like the rise of the woman in the workplace, and a lot of women that I work with are like, successful career women, and they're kicking ass in the boardroom and in the office, but then they carry the energy home with them, and they keep it on, which again, is exhausting for a lot of them, but they're not letting themselves just be a woman and be feminine and let the guy step up. They're literally like emasculating him because they're so used to push, get what I want, do this, make it happen, bringing the energy home. Yeah, the guy doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know what his place is, and the woman gets frustrated, so she just does more of that, which just is this horrible cycle.
Yeah, and then what happens is you got a woman micromanaging a man, and then she just keeps doing it over and over again. Then the man tries to speak and say things about it, and then the woman gets frustrated. It's just two frustrated people. They both go into attack and defense mode, and that's what happens. And the man starts retreating. The second a man is squashed, what's going to happen to his future is he's going to be with his grandson, and the ball's going to come out, and the grandson's going to look and say to himself, man, I didn't realize that. I'm going to do a podcast about this 45 years later and have an absolute fucking role model in my Grandpa Mickey, who's the poster child for men being squashed by their balls. So,
wow.
Yeah, no, it's a vicious cycle. So if you're in that type of relationship, you need to evaluate that relationship. And I strongly suggest when you're in that type of relationship to go get couples therapy, because you're not hearing or understanding one another. And if you're not understanding one another, you're basically, you as a woman, you're flexing your emotional muscles over a man who doesn't have strong emotional muscles. So he's going to go and cower, and he's not going to do anything because the only way he knows how to fight back is physical, and he's not going to touch you because you're a woman. So he's just going to be frustrated, and he's going to jump into the man cave. Anyway, we're over time today. Camille, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me at masterofflinedating.com.
Cool. Thanks for joining. This is it.
Thank you. Come on back again tomorrow for more self-help that doesn't suck.